This is Formation, a podcast from Mundelein Seminary. I'm Matt Paolelli, the Director of Marketing for Mundelein. In this episode, we're talking to David Brochu, a longtime supporter of Mundelein Seminary who's been working in the clean energy field for more than 20 years. After a conversation with our rector, Father John Carci, he helped the seminary to embark on a new adventure exploring the opportunities of clean energy and solar power. He spent the second half of 2019 helping to plan and build a solar array for the campus, which is now fully operational and located on the north end of the campus. It's also shaped like a cross and can be seen from 20,000 feet in the air. Listen to our conversation to learn more about how this exciting project came to be. And as always, thanks for subscribing and rating Formation wherever you get your podcasts. Hi, David. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks. It's good to be here.
Maybe to start out, you could tell us about how you first connected with Mundelein Seminary and how you became interested in our mission.
Sure. My wife and I moved here with three of our kids in 1998. And so we're transplants we were in California at the time, originally from Texas. And I don't know how or where we heard about Mundelein at first, but I was, I think fairly early on after we got here. And we felt like, we just... we're happy to support the organization whenever we got a chance. Somebody asked us, I'm sure, some sort of appeal. We also used to belong to a homeschool group that was based out in Volo, Illinois, and we would actually have picnics on the grounds. So there where the baseball and the soccer field is, we would occasionally have picnics over there, and kids would run around and play games and stuff like that. So we knew about it. At some point along the way, we got a chance to go in the chapel, and maybe there was a mass there or something we had as a group. I can't remember exactly, but just always have supported the formation of priests, and somehow along the way, we just got more and more involved.
Yeah, that's great. So it sounds like you've actually had experience with the layout and geography of the campus well before taking on this project. Were there any particular priests that have had a big impact on you and your faith life?
Throughout my life, certainly. I think Lisa and I, we just are always so thankful for the variety of priests throughout our lives and our married lives together that have impacted us from when we were in California. I remember Father Sweeney in Northern California. We used to go to Mass when we were in Southern California in El Toro at Silverado Canyon. That's the Norbertines that have St. Michael's Abbey out there. And we were in a group there, had a bunch of friends. And again, just having the formation we had from the priests there. And then here when we were at St. Peter and Volo, Father Don Dietz was fantastic. And so, getting involved. And then, Bishop Barron was there when we first started supporting the seminary, and now with Father Carci. We just love going to his retreats and his talks. So we've been blessed with so many opportunities of great formation throughout our lives, and infinite value to a great parish priest. So
yeah, definitely. Let's talk a little bit about how the solar project came about. I think you told me that you were at an event at the seminary when you first had a conversation with Father John about it.
I think so. I don't remember the exact occasion. I think it was Father John. And we do the annual retreats there in December, at least we used to before COVID. And it could have been at that retreat. It could have been at another event. I really don't remember. But somewhere along the way, it came out that I actually was working in the solar industry. And then Father Carci had mentioned that there was interest in that. And so we got together. I think we might have had a meeting with Jim Heinen at the time and talked about it. That was it. I mean, it's just simple. And I'm willing to help. I know solar, and thought, I'll take a look at it and see if I can help.
What made you think that the seminary would be a good place for this kind of project?
Well, I guess I didn't know at the time, but I have done solar development on campuses before, and both high school and college. And so, I knew that solar can benefit a campus and can help them save money. So I knew it was a possibility. Didn't know much about the energy, and you look at the energy and look at trying to save money by how much does it cost right now, and can we install solar and save money. And I think when we first looked at it, I don't think there were any programs in place in Illinois, but that soon changed with the Illinois Shines program, which is really, I would say that was the catalyst for us moving forward more aggressively.
Can you talk a little bit about that? What did that program allow you to do?
Well, that program provides a 15-year contract to purchase from the solar facility that's installed all of the renewable energy credits. Renewable energy credit is essentially, a renewable energy credit is generated for each megawatt hour of electricity generated by the solar facility, and it has a value. In Illinois, in this Illinois Shines program, the value they put on it is significant, sufficient to help justify the project. So really, it's intended as a local incentive for organizations like Mundelein to put solar in their facility.
Yeah, that's great. And that program no longer exists, right? So did you have to kind of act quickly in order to take advantage of it?
Yeah, I think when we first started looking at it, the program was just coming in, and we did some initial evaluation. The work we did at Mundelein, I work. Everybody has a full-time job, so as we worked on it, it slowed down a bit, and then there was a point at which I believe in 2019 we looked at the program and we knew that the existing Illinois Shines program was going to run out of capacity of renewable credit agreements. So working with David Singler, who is at the Archdiocese in the sustainability office there, we just worked quickly to put in all the applications and the paperwork we needed to get an interconnection initially, and then once we got the interconnection, to apply for the renewable energy credits. And we got lucky, I would say, within certainly within a few months of us getting our renewable energy credits. The program for projects this size, the program pretty much stopped. They ran out of the capacity. So
start to finish, how long was this project in the works then?
Well, I would say if I would call the start sometime in September, October of 2019. That's when we put the application in for the interconnection agreement. So from that point on to finish was a little more than a year and 3 months. So.
Yeah. Well, and obviously you have a lot of experience in the clean energy field. Can you talk a little bit about your background and your company?
Sure. I've been developing solar power since 2007. And been with a few companies now, but we've done everything from rooftop solar on schools and school districts to large thousands of acres in the California desert. We've built billions of dollars of solar power plants, mostly in North America, Canada, and the U.S. And that's most of my expertise in work has been in much larger projects than this. But this is, I would say that it was a unique opportunity for me to take what I know and help the university do something fairly quickly and positively. So,
yeah, well, and I love that it adds aesthetically to the campus too. Can you talk about the unique shape of the array and how that came about?
Sure, that was I guess I was inspired. We originally designed the power plant to fill that area that's up there in a large rectangle. So the original design was to build a large rectangle, kind of use the land that was available as much as possible, generate as much electricity, and then as we went through the design process early in 2020 to really, I would say, size the project correctly for the electricity usage that the university has, we decided that a smaller system would be more feasible. And so we designed a smaller system and smaller rectangle. And somewhere one day or one evening, I don't remember, I was sitting here at my desk in this room and playing with the design. And I just said, I wonder if we could do that. And I formed it in the shape of a cross. I mean, it was not hard. It's a very easy to use design software. Literally did it, probably in 20 minutes, and sent it over to Jim Heinen and said, "Hey, Jim, what would you guys think if we did something like this?" And he came back quickly and said, "That would be great." So then, so I thought a rectangle is the cheapest way to do it. Obviously, fewest number of rows. Everything's more compact and consolidated. And so I was a little bit concerned going to the contractors that they would, charge us too much more for the cross versus a rectangle. So I went to each of them and I said, look, I'd like you to bid the rectangle and then bid the cross and tell us the difference in price, because I don't want to, I don't want to, cause this to be too expensive or anything like that. And they all three of them who were bidding at that time came back and they said, it won't be any more for the cross than the rectangle. We can do it for the same price. And and all three of them they're for-profit companies, but they were all incented and wanted to support Mundelein Seminary as well. And it was for that reason that they were willing to do the cross. So I thought that was great. And the rest is, I guess, history.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And it looks great now. And you can see it from 20,000 feet in the air, which is pretty cool. Can you talk about how it links into the 100-year-old power grid system at Mundelein Seminary?
Sure. I mean, the power is measured in a couple of different ways, but I think the easiest way is to say how many kilowatt hours a year does the university use. The solar facility will provide about 20 to 25% of that kilowatt hour usage. That's sized smaller because it's solar, it only runs during the day. And if it generates more electricity than the university is using, then that excess electricity gets sent out to the grid for a much lower, price than what it saves the university. So that was the sizing design, constraint we used, was how much electricity can we provide to the university and minimize the amount of electricity that's sent out to the grid at a discount or a loss. And so that was the plan. It ended up being about 20 to 25% of the annual usage, and I think it's pretty good for a solar facility. You'd have to put storage or some other technology in there to go beyond that 20 to 25%.
Yeah. And I know another big reason this project was even possible is because of the generosity of a lot of other people who felt it was important to do for Mundelein and were willing to invest in it. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I would say that we approached this project as friendly as possible with all parties involved. And so my experience as a developer of solar plants is everything's a for-profit. You develop it, you sell it to a bank or an investor for as much money as possible. You take as much fees out of it as possible. So everybody in this case, and I include even the contractors, while they had to make a profit, and they're for-profit companies, and they obviously have to. There's a lot of equipment. They made a very fair proposal and executed on that proposal, and didn't charge us any more than originally planned. So it was a really good combination. In terms of the investors, one person that I worked with was Julie Jansen Kramer. Julie is, I believe, a advisory board member at the seminary, and was also on the original team and committee that we had put together that was looking at this initially. And she was really instrumental in reaching out to private investors, individuals with the capacity to help, and we put together a structure that allowed them to do so that the federal investment tax credit could be utilized. It's another part of the incentive, and that the sort of operations and maintenance of the facility would be taken care of as well for some period of time. So it was these what I call friendly investors, friendly owners, people who are sympathetic and supportive of the cause at Mundelein, that we were able to round up the roughly $800,000 we needed to build it.
Yeah, the generosity of you and the other investors has really been incredible. This is the first solar array to be on a Catholic seminary campus in the United States, and it's one of the first in the Archdiocese of Chicago. So obviously, environmental teachings are a big part of the Catholic Church, with the Pope's encyclical Laudato Si. Why do you think it's important for Mundelein and the wider church to embrace these clean energy techniques?
Well, I think it's important. I mean, I've been doing this since 2007, and I think it's important that we utilize, the clean energy technologies that we have right now for the benefit of the world, quite frankly, and the benefit of everybody. So, I think everybody should be investing in clean energy. Yeah, and it's economical today. That's the other thing is, people don't realize this, but the cost of solar is pretty much the cheapest form of new generation that's being built right now. It's very cost effective. Obviously, it doesn't run at night, so it's got its issues. You need electricity at night as well, but it should be implemented wherever possible, and it is possible to do so in a cost effective way. And so in terms of for the church, I think for the church, for those of us in the church who look at our mission, and when I look at my mission in terms of clean energy, I look at it really in terms of the resources that God has given us and how we need to take care of those resources. And the one thing I've said many times is if you think about it, you don't have to be an environmentalist. You don't have to be Republican or Democrat or anything. You just think about it. Do I want to scrape dirt off the top of a mountain in West Virginia or in Southern Illinois or in Wyoming and dump it into a rail car and ship it across the country and then burn it and then spend a whole lot more money, taking all the nasty exhaust that comes out of that and trying to clean that up? That just look at that whole process, and it's pretty dirty from start to finish. And nothing against coal or that, but I'm just trying to compare that to what we can do with solar, which is a renewable resources, or wind, but it's there. It hits us every day. We wouldn't even have had that coal in the ground if it wasn't for the solar energy that, that created all that vegetation hundreds of millions of years ago. So I just go back to the fact that we have this resource, and it is cost effective, and it is an amazing part of our energy supply already, but it's going to continue to grow. So for me, that's it. It's just taking care of our world and doing our job as inhabitants and as Christians to manage our resources.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned that it's economical. How much is it going to save the seminary over time?
Yeah, and I think that's actually, when you looked at everybody who was involved, I made this point across the board, because when we had to hire attorneys to review and negotiate certain agreements. We had obviously a contractor who did the majority of the work building it, myself and my partner, Andre, who worked on the project, pro bono for a long time. And just other third parties that worked on this project. I emphasized to everybody, and everybody was on board with the whole concept of we want this to cost as little as possible. The least amount of money it costs, the more savings it's going to have for the university. And it's going to cost $800,000 to build. It's already built. It cost $800,000 to build, but that money is going to get repaid by the incentives, federal tax credits, the renewable energy contract from the Illinois Shines program. And then also the university will be buying electricity from that entity that owns the facility, and for some period of time. And even with buying that electricity, even the incentives obviously help, but buying that electricity and then operating the plant for themselves for the remainder of the life of the plant, which is about 35 years, should save the university about $1.3 million. And that was really what I tried to emphasize with folks, is like, we can raise the money. Everybody can get all their investment back. Everybody can get paid a reasonable price for their work, and the university can save $1.3 million. I think the point of it all, and the driving factor when working on this for me was, in a lot of ways, is like I can't write a check for $1 million, but I know enough about this industry that I can help save the university $1 million, and that's really why that's why I decided I would do it. So.
Yeah, that's what's so inspiring to me about this, is that you found a way to use your time and talent and end up giving the seminary some treasure. So it worked out for everybody. What was your favorite part about working on this project?
I don't know, just working with the different people on it. I think nothing is easy when you're talking about legal contracts and indemnifications, and you've got third-party agreements with obligation. There's even though it's all friendly, the state of Illinois is not necessarily friendly to us. Not that they're unfriendly, but obviously we have legal contracts with them. ComEd is, their utility. You've got legal contracts with them you have to abide by. So, not everything that gets done is done smoothly and easily. And I think working with Jim was just real, really can-do attitude, and also just, he's the chief operating officer, but he's just aligned with the mission of Mundelein, and I think he and I developed a great relationship in that process as well. And then Julie Jansen Kramer just has a tremendous amount of energy and willingness to just pick up the phone, call her friends, and reach out and find other folks aligned with the mission to help support this project. And that was very exciting as well.
Yeah, well, there's just been a tremendous amount of generosity across the board with this project. And I hope you're proud of what you were able to do and the way you were able to bring something new and exciting to this 100-year-old campus and really make a difference for the future.
Oh, I'm excited about it. Yeah, I was out of town for much of the fall. I haven't even actually been to the facility myself, so I'm waiting for the snow to make it a little more accessible. But I do look at the energy production every day on the monitoring system, and it's working well. So, man, it's just been a lot of fun and a great blessing to be part of it. And sometimes I was a little anxious about it actually working out, but it's worked out, and happy to see it, and be really happy to see the savings get to Mundelein. So. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your time today and for all your efforts on this project, David. We really appreciate it.
You bet, Matt. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Formation, a podcast from Mundelein Seminary. We appreciate your support. Please provide a rating or a review wherever you're listening so that others can find this podcast. To learn more about Mundelein Seminary and to stay up to date with the latest Mundelein news, visit usml.edu/newsletter and subscribe to receive our bi-weekly newsletter. Together with you in Christ, we are Mundelein. We form parish priests.